Welcome to Witchy Wednesday, where we remember the rituals our ancestors practiced long before spirituality became a trend. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Witchy Wednesday, where we remember the rituals our ancestors used to work with energy, intention, and the unseen world. Today is a very special episode because I am doing this in honor of my granddaughter Mabel that was born just 3 days ago. And so we are talking about something deeply sacred. Today we are going to talk about how our ancestors prepared for birth and how they welcomed a new soul when it entered the world. So, before birth became something clinical like it is now, it was actually something very communal, spiritual, and intention. Our ancestors didn't just prepare physically, they prepared energetically. They understood that birth was a threshold moment, a soul entering a body, a child entering a family, a lineage expanding, and they marked that moment with ritual. Now, so this week, as I said, my granddaughter Mabel was born, and I chose to return to those simple ancestral practices. So the morning of, I lit this gold candle here, and I placed a bowl of water nearby. Fire represented life, protection, and the continuation of a family line. So before birth, a candle or a hearth fire would be lit to invite guidance from ancestors, protection for mother and child. So the morning of, I lit this beautiful gold candle and I said a little prayer and I asked for guidance. I thanked our ancestors and I asked for protection for my daughter-in-law and for my granddaughter as they come into this world, because birth is actually a very intense experience for all involved. So I sat for a few moments in the morning, just sitting with the candle, sitting with my thoughts and setting the intentions for protection and guidance during the delivery. Next, what I did is I got a bowl of water to do a water blessing. So water represents life, emotional protection, and spiritual cleansing. So simply all I did was I filled a small little bowl of water and I set it near the candle as the candle was burning. And I asked that this water carry life and that this child be carried safely into the world. And then I just sat for a few moments with these objects, setting my intention, and then I thanked Source. Now, the following morning, I left the bowl out next to the candle, obviously not burning, but the next morning I did take that water after Mabel had been born, and I returned it to the earth as a thank you and a gratitude for the safe delivery of my beautiful granddaughter. And today, in this episode of Witchy Wednesday, what I'm going to do with you is we are going to create a threshold protection bundle that can be set on the doorway of my son and daughter-in-law's home or to the baby's bedroom. So this is something our ancestors would have done, and they would have placed it in the doorway to protect the space and welcome the child safely. So I am using selenite. This is a modern reflection of what our ancestors would have used. So our ancestors would have used a stone that clears energy, brings calm, and creates a peaceful field within the home. So I do have some selenite, and so that is what I will be using as my stone. So what I have done is I actually have some cloth from my son's baby blanket. And although the baby blanket hasn't fared out as well, I was able to find a little piece that I was able to cut. And so I am going to use it as the cloth that I'm going to wrap my herbs in. So I'm going to go ahead and set my selenite on the cloth. And then I'm going to start with lavender. So lavender is all about peace, calm, and emotional safety. Lavender has been used for many years in spaces of rest and around mothers and children, and it helps create a sense of gentleness. So we're going to go ahead and sprinkle that in over the selenite. There we go. Next, we're going to use the rosemary. And so rosemary was one of the most traditionally protective herbs. It was often placed at doorways to guard the home and protect those inside. So this is for a layer of protection. Next, we're going to go ahead and add 2 bay leaves. Doesn't matter how many you add, just what feels right to you. So the bay leaf represents blessings, strength, and a supported life path. It's a way of calling in a life that is guided and held. All right, now we move into the wrapping, which is the most important part, because wrapping is all about sealing in the intention, binding the energy, and creating something whole. And in ancestral practices, nothing was ever rushed. So this is where the ritual becomes real. So take your time, and you're going to say a blessing as you are wrapping. So I'm going to say that with calm, with protection, and with blessing, I prepare this space for Mabel. May she move through this world feeling that she is held and always loved and protected and safe. All right, folks. I am not going to tell you how long that took me to do that. Because I'm a little embarrassed, but anyways, remember, it's about the process and not rushing it, right? So I do finally have it wrapped, and now I am going to seal it with this ribbon to keep it in place. So I am just continuing to bound, set my intentions. All right, I'm not going to tell you how long that took me to do because I'm a little embarrassed, but again, it's about the process, right? We're not rushing. So anyways, I do have it done, and then I wrapped a beautiful ribbon around it all to help seal it in, and I'm going to seal it in with some candle wax. Hopefully that will seal it together. Here we go. All right, so this is going to be placed in the doorway of my son and daughter-in-law's home or into Mabel's nursery. And it's just a quiet way of saying what is safe, loving, and supportive may enter here, and only what is safe, supportive, and loving may enter here. All right, folks, that is it. I have found some beautiful rituals regarding how our ancestors celebrated the birth and arrival of a new life, and they are truly beautiful. I'm grateful to be able to share this one with you. What I love so much about these rituals is how simple they are. There's no perfection. They're not complicated. It's just about intention, presence, and remembering that life is sacred. So remember, our ancestors weren't doing anything complicated. They were just deeply connected. And really, we can be too. And I think it's deeply needed now, more than ever in our society. So I'm so grateful to be able to share this ritual with you and to be able to create this with you so that I am offering a protection for my granddaughter. Because, wow. Just wow. I can't even, it's been 3 days and I still can't put into words what it feels like to enter into this stage of my life. So I am grateful to be able to bring back some ancestry practices and share them all with you. If this resonated with you, I ask you to do all the things, push the buttons, like, subscribe, share, all those things. And join me for Witchy Wednesdays, where we remember the old ways and bring them back to life. I am wishing you a very blessed day.